Welcome back, guys. Now, for some of you, about 24 hours have passed. For some of you, maybe about 30 seconds. For me, well, it took me about 2 minutes to go and fucking change out my fucking shirts and everything. But last time I took a look at the best movies I covered last year, but now it's time to start scraping the bottom of that fucking barrel. It's time to look at the cream of the crap. I am, of course, talking about the bottom 5 reaction and review movies of 2012. We kick off the bottom 5 with a British sex comedy that was neither sexy or funny, and if some of my British viewers are to be believed, they flat out fucking refuse to even accept that it's British. So it fails everywhere in just trying to be what it was striving for. The movie I'm talking about is Sex Lives of the Potato Men. Oh, fuck me, that movie was bad. Guys, for those of you who didn't watch that reaction and review, allow me to sum up for you the high point in the film. The high glistening point of the movie is the fact that Motorhead's song Ace of Spades is playing over the opening credits. That's it. The movie goes downhill from there, and it goes downhill fucking fast. We have acting which is complete and total shit. Writing which sucks on multiple levels. We have jokes which are trying so desperately hard to be funny, but they almost all wind up either being creepy or offensive or just plain shit. We have a soundtrack which, again, starts off promising because it started with Motorhead and devolved into bullshit by the time the closing credits rolled. Frankly, I believe that if you've had the displeasure of watching that movie, oh man, you basically know my pain. And if you haven't seen it, I'm totally fucking jealous, because damn it, you didn't have to watch Sex Lives of the fucking Potato Men. Oh boy. Number 4 is an adaptation of a show I thought sucked in the first place. And apparently the fans of that show also think this movie is complete shit. The movie in question is The Last Airbender. Yes, at least as of right now, the last film directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Apparently that movie was the one massive turd that was just bad enough to kill his fucking career, and nothing of value was lost. We had acting which sucked. We had fucking CG which was complete and utter shit. We had a story which was totally allergic to fucking logic, as you could sit there and you could watch it, and with no effort at all, you could sit there and you could start blowing holes in this movie's flimsy bullshit story, because of course logic is gonna pound through it so fucking easily. There is not a single likable thing about it, and the saddest part is that this movie really has no one to cater to, because if you, like me, were not a fan of Avatar, you obviously are not going to want to watch the movie. If you've never heard of Avatar and you watch the movie, well, you're probably going to think that Avatar sucks because the movie is that bad. And of course, the fans of Avatar believed that movie to be absolute crap. So really, it's not really catering to anybody except those who've never heard of Avatar: The Last fucking Airbender. And if that is your only exposure to the frickin' Avatar franchise, and I feel really sorry for you. And mind you, this is coming from somebody who doesn't even like the fucking show. At least the show has a little bit of merit over that goddamn movie. Oh my god. Speaking of adaptations, number 3 was a failed television pilot based on one of my favorite comic books. That pilot was Justice League of America. Holy fuck balls. Okay. So, we have costumes which totally suck. I'm talking these are some of the bulkiest, chunkiest superhero costumes I have ever seen. We have writing which is bad even on the standards of a comic book film. The writing is complete and utter shit. In fact, guys, the writing would would have been bad for a fucking episode of Hercules, Xena, or fucking Knight Rider, okay? The writing in that pilot was complete and total shit. They couldn't even be asked to use an actual DC Comics villain. Instead, they have a poor knockoff of a shitty DC Comics villain. Oh, yeah, I mean, because, you do have the Flash. But it would be totally wrong to have the fucking weather, wizard as the villain. No. We have to have this guy who does almost the exact same thing, except he's called the Weatherman. Yeah. That thing. Holy fuck. And I'm gonna tell you, it's basically very, very few shining moments in that are the fact that just at least a couple of the cast members can act when they're not in the Justice League pilot. Holy shit. And of course, the biggest shocker is when I saw David Ogden Stiers, the guy who played Winchester in MASH, who at that time had fucking gone out of his way to become fatter than I am, and they douse him in green paint and pretend that he's the Martian Manhunter. That was just sad and depressing to see, period. Number two is going to shock a lot of you guys because, hell, even I'm kind of shocked it is at number 2. It was a spoof film from 2010. It has by far the shittiest title of any movie I've ever seen. That movie is The 41-Year-Old Virgin Who Knocked Up Sarah Marshall and Felt Super Bad About It. Yeah, guys, I totally know. I seriously thought this fucking thing would be at friggin' number fucking 1. But something fucking beat it out, and I will tell you what in just a moment. But first, I have to take one last chance to just dig into the fucking 41-year-old, so on and so forth. So, we have a movie which is trying to spoof all of Judd Apatow's films, which, mind you, I haven't seen any of his films, so I guess I really wasn't the best guy to attempt to cover this fucking thing. But the humor all falls completely flat. We have fucking references. Well, first of all, it's one of those films where there were no jokes. It was just references, which is a giant red flag right there. The references are all coming way out of fucking nowhere, where you have references to things such as Star Wars and Verizon, old fucking Verizon ads, mind you, as well as, at that time at least, more modern ads for Dos Equis beer. It's like they had that in a film that was supposed to be primarily referencing the 40-year-old virgin forgetting Sarah Marshall, knocked up and super bad. And, of course, those all get barely fucking referenced because the fucking writers were busy referencing everything else under the fucking sun. And, of course, it was not funny in the slightest. In fact, I said a movie would have to be physically painful for it to beat it and become number 1. Well, this thing came fucking close. I'm, of course, talking about that 2012 train wreck, A Christmas Story 2. Now, I know I said that a movie would have to be physically painful for me to actually put it worse than the 41-year-old virgin who knocked up Sarah Marshall and felt super bad about it. Well, guess what? Do you want to know what happened shortly after I watched A Christmas Story 2? I was channel surfing one night, and I saw that TNT was running A Christmas Story. And I did something I have never done in my entire life. I looked at what I saw, I said, fuck off, and I changed the channel. Literally, A Christmas Story 2 made me not want to watch A Christmas Story, and unlike every other year when I usually watch it a few times a month, I had to struggle to get through my one viewing of my fucking Blu-ray copy. So, yeah, that's why it is at number 1. Because it is the only movie I have ever heard of which made me retroactively dislike a movie I love. Now, mind you, when I was done watching A Christmas Story, I actually began to enjoy it again. I sure as shit was not going to watch it a second time, because still a little bit bitter after watching A Christmas Story 2. Now, why was A Christmas Story 2 so fucking bad? Because there wasn't a single original joke in the entire goddamn film. Almost every major joke was lifted word for word and beat for beat from the original A Christmas Story, except done with absolutely none of the heart and with none of the soul. It was a shitty, bullshit cash-in, and I frankly am absolutely offended by it to the point where if I ever find anybody who works for Warner Brothers, I may have to cave their face in with a fucking tire iron, just simply so I can feel a little bit better. Guys, last year's number one on the bottom 5 was Birdemic Shock and Terror. A Christmas Story 2 and The 41-Year-Old Virgin Who Knocked Up Sarah Marshall and Felt Super Bad About It are both leaps and bounds worse than anything you could see in Birdemic Shock and Terror. Holy fuck, guys. I'm going to tell you, figuring out the bottom 5 was a shit ton easier than figuring out the top 5. I'm going to say that right now. Which is funny, because I covered more shitty movies last year than fucking good, if memory serves. But of course, those 5 stood out as the absolute worst I had fucking watched. And I'm so happy I never have to watch them again. I never have to talk about them again. With this, I am closing the door on those 5 goddamned movies, and they all burn in the deepest pits of hell, right along with the bottom 5 from last year. So yeah, guys, now it's time to look forward into a new year. Let's see what 2013 has to offer here on Reaction and Review. So guys, until next time, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.